Yeah. Hey everybody, Prepper Nurse One here with my daughter. And Heather, show them the exciting book that you have to read for school.
The Grapes of Wrath.
She's very excited. She's really enjoying it. Not.
Oh, yeah, my favorite topic is the Dust Bowl.
Yes, I know you're very curious about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So guys, let me just show you the sky here. Right now it's completely clear blue. Earlier it was partly cloudy, but we still had a decent day solar-wise, so that was a good thing. Today is August 8th, 2017. And so the topic of this video, how to act when you get pulled over by a cop, because, now listen, you're going to love this. Okay, so first of all, we've been down here in this area, it was 2 years in June. And in 2 years, since we moved down here, I've been pulled over 4 times. And in the previous 15 years, when I lived in Rochester, Greece area, I was pulled over 1 time in 15 years. So it makes no sense. But anyway, so I just got pulled over the other night on my way to work. So I got to explain to that story and how you're going to act when you get pulled over by the police. So I'll tell you everything that happened. And so I was coming down the road, and I have a radar detector in my car. I always have the radar detector. It gives me a heads up, lets me know where they're at, if they're around, if they're hiding and stuff like that. So my radar detector starts going crazy, and I realize there's 2 cars farther ahead of me, and I realize that one of them's got to be a cop. Okay, so I ended up catching up with them, and it was a sheriff. So I'm like, okay, so I'm obviously behind the sheriff, and I was probably behind him for 5-6 miles anyway. Okay, so we go through this one small town. He ends up pulling over, and so I go by. He comes right up behind me and lights me up, and I'm like, what's he pulling me over for, right? So now how are you going to act when you get pulled over? This is what I did. Okay, so I pulled over. I put my driver's side window all the way down, and I took both of my hands and I put them out the window. Okay, so I had both of my hands out of the window, so when he walked up to the car, the first thing I said to him was, I put both of my hands out the window so that you would realize that I was not a threat to you. I said, with all the stuff that you guys are dealing with today, I said, I wanted to make sure, I wanted to put you at ease. And he says, well, I appreciate that. And then he says, can I have your license and registration? And I said, sure. And I said, can I ask you why you pulled me over? And he said to me, well, do you know that there's a law, he said, about driving too close? And I said, sir, I was 2 car lengths behind you. And so then he changes it up and says, well, you realize you had your high beams on for like 5 miles? I said, no, sir, I did not. I said, because that's one of my pet peeves, guys. I'm going to tell you what, I hate it when people are behind me, or, you know, or if they're coming at me and they leave their high beams on, it drives me nuts. I can't stand it. So I'll give them a flash. If they don't turn their high beams off, then I'll turn mine on and just give them a high beams too if they don't turn theirs off. But I would never, first of all, never would I ever tailgate a cop. Secondly, I would never have my high beams on for like 5 miles behind the cop. So anyway, so he takes my license and registration and he goes back to the car. Oh, and I was in my uniform, so he said to me, he goes, are you on your way to work? And I said, yes, sir, I am. And so here's the other thing, guys, that I did. Yes, sir, no, sir. You know, basically, I'm not going to, you know, get into a match and be like, I never did that. I kept my voice completely calm. I explained to him that, no, I did not do that, and there's no way I would do that with as far as the high beams go. So he goes back to his car, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my God, this guy's going to give me a freaking ticket, you know? I was just like, I was flabbergasted. So he comes back up to me, and he said, you know, as far as driving too close, he says, you know, you can't have your high beam or your lights disappear from my rear view mirror. He said, so you have to stay, you know, far enough back. And I said, okay. And he said, and as far as, he goes, I'm not going to argue with you. He goes, I know you had your high beams on, which I did not. But he says, I'm not going to give you a ticket. I'm just going to give you a warning. He said, I appreciate the way, he said, that you handled yourself as far as putting your hands out the window when I approached you. He goes, thank you for that. And I said, well, you know, I said, you guys are dealing with a lot these days, and there's a lot of crazy people out there, and I just wanted to set your mind at ease. He goes, well, I appreciate that. So he says, you know, have a good night. He goes, and drive safe. And I told him, I said, well, sir, be safe. So the moral of the story is, your attitude, guys, is everything. How you approach a situation is everything. You know, you don't want to get into a verbal argument with a police officer, ever. Ever. You don't want to get into that confrontation as far as you sounding aggressive. You want to stay calm. You don't want to get upset. Now, first of all, I know I did not have my high beams on. I know I was not tailgating a cop, okay? But when I argued my point with him, I stayed calm. I kept my voice at this level. I did not raise my voice. I did not come off as aggressive in any way, you know? And the thing is, I was respectful. I used my manners, you know, and I said my point. And the thing was, right from the beginning, I put his mind at ease by putting my hands out that window to let him know that I was not a threat, okay? Now, I got to say this. Of the 4 times that I have been pulled over down here since we moved down here, I got 1 ticket, and that was for rolling through a stop sign. And I probably did do that. So, rolling stops are a big thing, guys, you know, so, but I'm pretty sure I did do that one, so that was a legitimate ticket. Now, the other 2, they could have given me a ticket. This one here, I definitely did not do. I would be the first to say I did not do this one. But, you know, whatever, maybe he didn't like the fact that I was as close as I was to him driving, so now I know that if I'm behind a cop, I'm going to stay farther behind the cop from this point on if I'm driving. So, but like I said, it's how you deal with the situation at hand, okay? You getting upset, you raising your voice is not going to help your cause. You copping an attitude with a cop is not going to help your cause, okay? They are under a tremendous amount of stress. The most dangerous thing that a cop does, other than a domestic violence call, is pull somebody over. Because when they're walking up to that car, they have absolutely no idea what they're walking into, okay? So you got to think about that. You got to put yourself in their position. I mean, they're basically, every time that they pull somebody over, they're risking their life, okay? And of course, when he took my license and registration, he asked me, do you have anything on your license or anything like that? And I said, no, sir, I don't, because my license is completely clean, you know? So, we got the cats over there chilling. And, there's Buddy. It's been a really nice day. It's been in the 70s up here today, so it's been very, very mild. It's been a very beautiful day today. We've been very, very lucky. But anyway, but that's what happened, and so I wanted to share that story with you. And I'm just like, I can't believe I'm getting pulled over again. You know, it was blowing me away. And there's Mr. Loose. What's going on, buddy? How are you? Yeah. So, you know, again, it's how you present yourself, how you act is going to determine how that stop goes. I mean, if you come off copping an attitude with a police officer right away, man, I'll tell you what, you might not get 1 ticket, you might get 3 or 4. Because, you know, you piss them off, and if they're already having a bad day, you know, you don't know, and that's the other thing, you don't know what kind of day they're having. You don't know if the wife pissed them off at home, or, you know, they've already had to deal with a couple of idiots or whatever. You don't know. Here's the thing is, you got to realize something with police officers, okay? They are dealing, for the most part, with the dredges of society day in and day out. So they're very jaded in their thinking, because then they just start thinking that everybody's a scumbag, okay? When you got to deal with, you know, drug addicts and drunks and, you know, guys that are beating up on their women and, you know, or women beating up on their men. I mean, it goes both ways, you know. Or you have, you know, dealing with rapists and child molesters and all that type of stuff all the time. Their thought process is completely different. So the best thing we can do is, as law-abiding citizens, is set their mind at ease, let them know that they're not in any danger from you. And the thing is, I don't want to get accidentally shot. You know, the first thing here's another thing, guys, that you don't want to do. When he pulls you over, you don't want to be rummaging through your center console or going into your glove box to get your registration or your license if you keep them there, okay? The first thing you want to do is keep that officer completely at ease. Again, like what I did with putting my hands out the window, and then when he says license and registration, if your registration is in the center console, you need to say to him, sir, my registration is in the center console, may I get it? Okay? And it may sound petty and stupid, but it's going to keep you alive and it's going to, you don't want to be accidentally shot for a stupid reason, like reaching for your wallet or something like that. You don't want to get killed over something like that. So if you can put that officer at ease to begin with, let him realize that, okay, this is just a normal traffic stop. This guy is not a threat to me in any way, shape, or form. That's what you want to do. And there's the princess, just so you guys got to see her. She is there. So those are things that I want you guys to think about, too, if you're going to get pulled over. And hopefully, like I said, from my own experiences, hopefully this helps you guys, okay? And like I said, 3 of the 4 times that I have been stopped since I have been down here, I did not get a ticket, okay? The other time I got stopped, it was by a little rinky-dink town cop, and she was, they were banging out tickets that night. A lot of people got tickets that night where I worked for rolling through a red light, or rolling through a stop sign. And it was way up on a hill, and it's, there's no traffic, and everybody rolled through that stop sign. And so, but they were banging people out that night. They gave out, I think, like 6 or 7 tickets that night alone. So it was a revenue maker, and I get it, so that's why I ended up getting that ticket. But anyway, so that's my story. That's what happened to me. That's how I dealt with the situation. Now, was I happy that I got pulled over? Absolutely not. But it's how you deal with a situation when it comes up generally will dictate what the outcome is going to be, okay? Luckily, he decided not to be an a-hole and not give me a ticket, and I appreciated that. But the thing was, how I approached that entire situation helped determine how the outcome came out, okay? So anyway, guys, I just wanted to share that story with you, and I wanted to, hopefully that'll help you guys if you get pulled over. When you see these idiots that get pulled over on YouTube, and they put the window down this much, and I don't answer questions, and all this type of stuff, a lot of times, those stops are going to end in a very bad day for you. There's no reason to antagonize the police. There's no reason to goad the police. You know what? Play the game, and that's exactly what it is. Play the game and be smart. Don't be one of these guys that I'm going to show the police that I'm in charge and yada, yada, yada. You don't want to do that, guys. You know what? I'm going to tell you what. I am an alpha male. But the thing is, I realize when an authority figure in a situation that could put me behind bars for whatever they decide to charge you with, I'm not going to piss that guy off, okay? I'm going to say yes, sir, and I'm going to say no, sir. So anyway, guys, on that note, I'm going to get off of here. Remember, hug and kiss the ones you love. Tell them every single day. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. We never know what's going to happen. So it's very important that you tell the people that you care about every day how you feel. And remember, STD. One step at a time, one thing at a time, one day at a time. Whatever goals you're trying to reach, whatever you're trying to do, you can reach them as long as you work at it methodically. Okay? So anyway, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I hope everybody has a great night. Prepper Nurse 1 out for now.